What was the cringiest thing you did in your first relationship? Made an account just so I could finally tell this cringe-worthy story. High school girlfriend and I used to make out on her bed with the door locked while her parents were out there under the impression we are studying. Heavy kissing, and at some point she says, "Cut that out. Your breath stinks." Start kissing her neck and she slowly wraps her legs around my thigh. Couple minutes later starts breathing heavily. Couple minutes after that her legs tighten around my thigh. Couple minutes after that she suddenly goes rigid. Eyes roll up till I see whites. Rapid breathing. Exhaling heavily. I panic. And this is my retarded thought process, since all the blood's left my brain. She's choking. I should give her CPR. But she said no kissing her mouth. So I close my lips around her nose and blow it like a trumpet. She starts coughing immediately, but she's too polite to cuss me out. Says she needs a drink of water and leaves the room. We continued to go out for 6 years after that. TLDR, didn't realize GF was having an orgasm. Thought she was dying. Tried to save her by blowing sewer breath straight into her nose. I'm a moron. I lost my virginity to my first girlfriend. I was about 16 at the time and was invited over to stay the night because her dad was on a business trip. I was excited because we have talked a bunch about having sex and I was ready to finally lose my virginity. I get to her house and we are straight to action. She pulls down my pants and my D is as limp as top ramen noodle. She sucked me off for about 30 minutes until I could get at least half a chub. I put it in missionary and started humping. I didn't really know what to do with my hands, and at the time I knew that people pull hair during sex. So I stare at her missionary position and take 2 handfuls of her hair on both sides and just pull in a downward thrust while I'm humping. I sometimes think of this moment and want to disappear, lol. I had to take several breathers reading this. Ugh, I almost completely erased this memory. So I was young and I had my first boyfriend. We were experimenting sexually and I really wanted him to think my pee tasted nice. So I would literally rub strawberry F flavored lip gloss in my vagina. There's no way he didn't know. I thought it was such genius idea that I had to share it with my fellow women. So I wrote it down and passed a note in class to one of my friends. It dropped on the floor and all the boys read it and screamed laughing. Strawberry Lips was my new name and I cried for a week. Oh no, this is rough. I'm so sorry. This was with a girl I dated in high school. My dad was getting drunk at a block party, so I got the idea to take his ski boat and go for a romantic boat ride. So we park in the middle of the lake, start making out and stuff. We notice our feet getting wet. The boat was sinking, so I start freaking out, bailing water out with cups, sopping it up with my shirt and wringing it out of the boat, just panicking. Right after I accept the fate of my dad's $12,000 inboard motor ski boat and calm down, I remember that I didn't put back the drain plug before dropping it in the water, so I replaced it, drove back TLDR, tried to be cool, get laid with a boat ride, almost sank it. Number 1 rule in boating. Started dating 3 months before sophomore year ended. Once summer started I completely ghosted her. Skipped the first week of junior year. I thought we were still together. You can imagine how she reacted when I approached her for a kiss. The shame is still real to this day. Told my first real GF that I'm glad she wasn't the most beautiful girl in the world, so I didn't have to worry about every guy trying to steal her. Speech 100. The letters I've wrote. Oh, those letters. 15-year-old Meath Putty was deep and romantic. He wasn't. I hope they don't exist anymore. She started to ignore me at school. This was like maybe 1 or 2 weeks after we started dating. I called her house like 6 or 7 times one afternoon after school until her mom picked up, who was basically furious because I had been calling. I explained to her that Alexa was ignoring my calls. I hear in the background, "Hello, why aren't you answering the phone?" To which she responds, "Because he's weird and he just keeps calling." I hung up the phone and went to my room. I carved her name in my wall with a pen. I still cringe about it to this day. Was walking her home anticipating kissing her for the first time at her doorstep and kept licking my lips because I didn't want to kiss her with a dry mouth. Halfway to her house she looks at me and says stop doing that. I realized I probably looked really creepy. Did ya get the kiss though? Yes. Broke up with her because my best friend told me to. We were perfectly fine together, but I guess I kinda worshipped the guy and his advice. He later tried asking her out when we split. We were all 14 to 15. What an asshole. He was playing chess when we were all playing checkers. Ugh. I had honestly forgotten this until I read this question. First date to a movie. We see Titanic. Because that can only end well. We, as horny youngsters, aren't watching the movie, but instead making out and moaning in probably the third row of a packed theater. I'd never made out before. I assumed moaning was involved. Ugh, so cringy and gross. My first kiss was in the movies at the Bounty Hunter. It was interesting because I also got my first blowjob a few minutes later in the same spot. I remember 4 things. 1. My parents and her parents were 2 rows in front of us. 2. The looks of disgust on the old couple's faces 4 seats down. 3. She swallowed and it was way too much sensation for 16-year-old me. 3. Jared Butler was in it. Declined staying the night because I was, and I quote, wearing a skirt and didn't want it to ride up while I was sleeping. I licked her face to be random. God, that hurt to reimagine. Please don't mention hybridized eating utensils. Close bracket. Slowly raises spork. Hey, what did I say? He took me to Olive Garden and bought me that meat lover's lasagna. I'm pretty damn sure that's what it was / is called. And when we got back to his place I wanted to show him how appreciative I was. So I gave him my first blowjob. Turned out I was not ready for that job and threw up the entire lasagna on his penis. God help me. I can't believe I'm finally sharing this story. After I saw Eric propose to Donna on that 70s show, I went out and got a 25-cent ring from the local Pizza Hut and proposed at school in front of everyone. I was 16. Edit. I'm glad you all could share a cringe with me. To answer the burning question, she did say yes. We didn't last. Sorry, no happy ending here. Just teenagers doing impulsive things. Pizza Hut sells jewelry. Tried to defend her honor. I got the ass kicked out of me by 3 guys. I earned cred for taking a beating, but she thought we should just be friends after witnessing that. TBF. There's worse things to have 3 guys beat the S out of you for. That was a losing battle from the start, unless you're some Jackie Chan looking punk lol. Yeah. It was a prime example of when keeping it real goes wrong. We took a break and I posted a video to Creep by Radiohead with the caption for that special someone. Ugh. I almost cringed off my chair writing this. Could have been worse. You could have posted a video to Karma Police by Radiohead with the caption "Girls are not to be trusted" by Kevin. I was 17. We had just had a fight. I drove to his house and blasted Scars by Papa Roach from my car and just stood awkwardly at the end of the driveway waiting for him to come out. I really wish this weren't true. Edit. Added context. But did he ever come out? Well, she said that she thought we would be better off just being friends. So I decided that I needed to do some big grand gesture to prove my love. It always worked in the movies, so what could go wrong? I practiced singing the song for weeks on my ukulele and figured that I would wait until after her softball practice was done and surprise her. I sang You're Beautiful by James Blunt. It's a ref miracle anyone talked to me after that. Edit. Getting a lot of questions, so I'll try my best to answer most of them and keep it short. I wasn't a terrible singer, but I wasn't good. It didn't help that I added intentional breaks in my voice to make the song more emotionally powerful or something dumb like that. After I was done and stood in horror as her friends laughed at me and she stormed away, I kind of did a sad George Michael-esque walk in the rain to my car as I contemplated what would be easier, moving school districts or just driving off a cliff. We were not friends after that. It was super embarrassing for her and everyone teased her for months by signing James Blunt songs to her. I definitely had it worse. But high school kids are dicks. It also didn't help that about 2 weeks after we were assigned as lab partners and she raised her hand and asked the teacher if she could switch partners and the whole class sniggered. It seems sweet reading the story, But really it was super creepy, and I put her in an impossible spot. If anything positive came from it, I never had any troubles approaching women at bars etc. Because I already knew what the worst possible thing that could happen was, so it was only uphill from there. She showed me a topless pic, and I was too embarrassed to look at it. Edit https://crimecdn.com/entries/000/024/027/blog_image_3822_4926 webcomic_name_April_day_2 017032311756 JPG. I hit my girlfriend with my car. It was a complete accident. We are still friends, and it is a story that still comes up in conversation every now and then. Please start using the line "yeah, I hit that." After the first date of going to the movies, I never put my arm around her because I was too scared. We sat in my driveway, and she didn't say goodnight because she was waiting for me to kiss her. I did nothing. So she finally kissed me in defense mode. I licked my lips all the way around with my tongue like Scooby-Doo does with the cotton candy in the theme song intro. I even did the re-he-he-he kill me edit, cleaned up grammar so that y'all would not be able to deduce that we were brother sister. JK. Yes, this really happened. I was a freshman in high school and she was a junior. I was not ready for this. Kind of creepy on her part. Looking back, thanks for the kind words I woke up to. I'm glad you'll like my story. My first makeout session with someone was with my first girlfriend. We were in her bedroom, turned out the lights, and went at it on the floor of her room. After a while I feel something wet on my face. I didn't want to stop, so I just ignored it and carried on. She notices it too, and decides to turn on the light, because something is really wet on our faces. Light comes on and turns out I'd had a massive nosebleed, and there was blood everywhere. I was covered in it. She was covered in it, and there were blood stains all over her room. If that wasn't embarrassing enough, when she went to the bathroom to clean up, her mum caught her in the hallway. She sees the blood and immediately screams. Her assumption was that I was beating her daughter up, and I get chucked out the house. Took a long time and explaining for me to show my face there again. Also lost my virginity to the same girl to cool and the gangs celebrate. That was cringy as hell too. I used to take laps around the playground and slap stickers on her ass. I don't know what I was thinking. Sounds like some weirder anime shit. I got us matching dog tags with our anniversary on it after dating for around 6 months and would secretly get very sad when he wouldn't wear his. Guilty of this too. After we broke up, he posted a video on Facebook of his friend throwing it in the air so he could shoot it with a gun. Feo. I cried a little. Was 17 edit. I grew up in Mississippi. Super American country. I was upset when it happened, and I didn't even respond to him. Should have saved the video to make a meme, but I don't have a Facebook anymore, and it was a long time ago. It was pretty funny looking back. Thanks for all the comments and likes. Lol. So sorry you had to watch that video. Lolled pretty hard. I was super shy back in the day, and I really liked this guy who had weirdly flirted with me in one of our classes. He told me I looked like some random celebrity when I wore my hair down, and how hot she was, so I never wore my hair up again for the entirety of school. I replied later by slipping a note in his locker, but didn't sign it. A few days after that, I threw in a t-shirt I thought he would like. He didn't know who it was from until weeks later when he finally wore it to school to see if anyone said something. My BFF at the time did, and he realized it was me. Super creepy on my end. We ended up dating for a day before we broke up because we were stupid kids. Now, 15 years later, we reconnected and are now married. So totally worked as planned. Wyatt totally did not see that coming. I love this.